Today we're going to be working on a little bit of back extension work, and we're going to use a little bit of wall space, just enough for the short end of your mat, and one brick. So to begin, we'll start in Virasana Hero's pose, but sort of back against the wall. So you start standing on the knees, scoop back till your toes are close to the wall. Doesn't have to be all the way touching, but pretty close, within an inch or two. And then general idea, seat comes down toward the heels. Now you might notice a big stretch as you start to lower down. So we'll take our brick, we're gonna slide it underneath the seat and give ourselves a supported variation. From here, we're gonna lift up just a little bit. Take the hands, gently move the flesh of the calves off to the side as you lower the seat back down. Very good. Heels of the palms come into the hip crease as you lean back just a little bit. Press the hands down at the tops of the hip crease. And as you come back up to a tall spine, gently walk the heels of the hands down the thighs, move the flesh away. Good. Then fingertips press down by the sides. Shoulders gently roll back. Good. And hands come to rest on the thighs. So we're starting here with a pretty tall neutral spine. And in our back extensions, oftentimes the tendency is to just kind of throw ourselves back. But you'll find you feel some pinching or crunching in the lower spine, the lumbar here. So really our focus whenever we're doing back extension, more so than how far back can we go, our focus is to first extend straight up and then bend. So maybe you're not getting as much of a lean, but you are doing it in a safe, sustainable way. So we start tall, upright spine. We reach both arms straight up. Okay, so try and press your shins directly down into the mat. Try and press your sits bones down. Imagine your triceps rolling up and in, lifting into the shoulder belt. So you're extending straight up for the ceiling as much as you can. Pull the navel in. Good. And keep this length. Take an inhale. Exhale. Keep lengthening up. Then start leaning back. You're trying to bring the hands to the wall behind you. So kind of karate chop hands. Keep pressing the sits bones down. Good. See if you can scoot your fingertips just up the wall just a little bit more to add to that lengthening up and then back. Good. And we'll release. Nice. So we're gonna find that same idea in a different orientation. So you can slide the brick out from underneath you. We're gonna keep it within arm's reach. We're gonna turn around facing the wall and lower down onto your back. Good. I want you to start here. Imagine you're standing in mountain pose. So your feet are flat against the wall, heels right where the wall and the floor meet. Okay. And then I want you to lift the hips and slide in toward the wall. So the knees start to bend just a little bit. So maybe slide the hips about 3 or 4 inches to start. Good. Then we're gonna bend the knees completely, bring the feet flat underneath the knees. Good. So we're looking for knees and ankles roughly in one line. Feet about hips distance apart. Good. And we start with both arms down by the sides, palms flat. Good. So to build into our back extension, we're gonna make a little bit of a flow. It's 2 movements at one time. It's the hips lifting and the arms extending up overhead. So on a nice slow inhale, We're gonna lift just our hips up to the sky, pressing into the feet, simultaneously draw the arms up and overhead, trying to bring the backs of the palms to rest on the ground. Good. On an exhale, we'll lower the hips and the hands at the same time. Good. Let's find this a few times. So we're trying to extend the spine completely. Take an inhale, lift the hips, extend the arms up and overhead. Exhale to lower back down. A few more times. Keep soft engagement in the navel through the entire movement. Inhale, lift the hips, extend the arms. You can imagine the sternum's trying to lift up toward the chin. Exhale to lower back down. And let's find it one more time. Inhale, lift. Extend with the arms, lengthen the spine completely. Exhale, lower. Good. Now we're going to find a supported variation of this same back extension. We'll be using our brick, and you notice on your brick you have 3 settings. So we would call this low, this medium, and this high. For today we're going to use either the medium or the low setting. This time it's going to be only our hips lifting. We're going to keep our arms down by our sides, but for just a second, take a hold with the hands, the sides of the mat, tug into the mat, and use that to slide your shoulder blades in towards each other. Good. Draw up through the low navel. Very good. Then you can release the sides of the mat. As you're ready, we're going to press the feet into the ground, lifting just the hips. Take your brick on the low or medium setting and slide it underneath the hips, under the sacrum. So you'll notice sort of a flat shelf near the small of the back where the brick kind of lays perfectly. Good. Very important when we're here, we don't move our head from side to side. We keep the gaze straight up toward the ceiling. But we are going to take a moment, walk the shoulder blades in towards each other a little bit closer, widening the collarbones. Good. And we call this a supported variation of Setu Bandhasana. That's a bridge posture. Good. We'll lift our hips up just enough to slide the brick out from underneath us. And we're going to slowly lower the hips back down. Good. And we'll do one final variation. This variation can take a little bit of trial and error, but recall that we set our distance by sort of placing our feet against the wall and scooting the hips in. So in this next variation, we're going to lift ourselves up, support ourselves with a brick, and then extend our legs. We're trying to bring our feet flat onto the wall for added support. So this might take a try or two, but it begins the same. We walk shoulder blades in towards each other. We lift just the hips up, and we bring the brick on the low or medium setting. So if you come up, slide the brick under, and you feel any pinching or crunching, try the low setting. And if that's still uncomfortable, you can try a bolster or a rolled up blanket instead of the brick. Good. Shoulder blades walk in towards each other, collarbones widen. Good. And then we're going to work on extending the legs and bringing the feet flat onto the wall. Like I said, this might take a little bit of trial and error. So if you find that you have to keep your knees bent to bring your feet flat, you need to be further away. If you find that your feet can't firmly press flat on the wall, you need to come closer. So let's lower the feet down, slide the brick out from underneath you, adjust your distance as needed. So for me, I needed to be a little further away from the wall. Adjust as needed, and then let's come back into it. Shoulder blades slide together, hips lift up, brick comes underneath the sacrum on the low or medium setting. Legs extend, and feet come flat against the wall. Good. So it's a bit of a passive back extension. The wall and the brick are doing most of the work for you. If you feel like you're struggling and fighting to stay in, adjust your props as necessary. Take a lower variation on the brick or adjust your feet accordingly. Good. Take a few breaths here. Good. We're going to walk our feet down, bringing the ankles underneath the knees, press into the feet, lift the hips up just enough to slide the brick out from underneath you, then slowly lower all the way down. And as you lower down, we're going to hug knees up to the chest and lift the forehead toward the knees. We call this Pawanmuktasana. Good. You can lower the back of the head down, keep the knees hugged up. And we'll take a moment here, roll side to side, or little circles with the hips. Just a moment to release and neutralize the spine after all of that back extension. Good. When you're ready, you can release the knees, bring both feet flat, roll onto one side. And press yourself up. And that is our back extension course for today.